Hello, Dota 2 fans, and welcome to the grand finals of the Star Ladder I-League Invitational. We've got Team Spirit taking on Vega Squadron. Vega Squadron earlier today had a really good-looking series, 2-0, and they're looking strong. And yesterday, Spirit were able to defeat Na'Vi 2-1, and also looked very coordinated. Going to be interesting to see what the bans are here. I've got a lot of I know Lifestealer is now slipping through the pool. They're banning out, target banning Sioma's Pudge that he played very well earlier today, and Warlock, the big pick here, as it comes out that both these teams play very often. So the Pudge ban or the Earth Spear ban is going to allow this Warlock to slip through, and Vega are the ones to pick it up.
Yeah, in these games lately, it's been a lot of Warlocks and a lot of picks against the Warlock in terms of you always have to kill a Warlock in the fights, and if you don't, you're probably losing it. So you very often see picks coordinate towards that with a Slaughter Lifestealer maybe, or Spirit Lifestealer, and these kind of picks to really get on the Warlock and start a fight by killing him.
Yeah, a little bit of Tusk for FNG. Spirit has been running as well. They ran it yesterday alongside a DK Phobos Spirit Breaker, and that worked out very much so in their favor in game 1 against Na'Vi. So they'll go back for the Tusk here. Potentially, able to dodge a Chaotic Offering with the Snowball. That, as you mentioned, that counter initiation that the Warlock can provide, and just that second of massive hold is often what can turn the tides in the fight. So Tusk gives you a little bit of defensive capability, but as you mentioned, perhaps more important is his ability to get quickly in towards the backline.
Yeah, this Tusk pick that's been here and there a bit lately. It's kind of a replacement to these other common melee roamers like Monkey King, Earth Spirit, Pudge, Earth Spirit, all of these heroes that are very common Slaughter as well. And Tusk is like is in that pool, but he's like the least picked of all of them.
Right.
And I generally feel like sometimes I'm like, this hero is so good, and sometimes like it's just a bad version of everything else. So I'm interested to see how it goes. I feel like most of the time it's worse than it is good.
I think one way Spirit uses it as well, from what I've seen from them, is as a Lifestealer counter. And with them picking up the Juggernaut here early on, and knowing that that hero is picked up often by both sides and left in the pool, perhaps they're just, with the Sigil and the Walrus Punch, kind of accounting for that possibility going forward, especially with something like the Legion, who can pick up a Blink Dagger, potentially be a vessel for that Lifestealer Infest Bomb. So in some ways, I see Spirit pick it in response to a Lifestealer, but then picking it up early here just seems to play that roaming purpose that you mentioned and be a bit of a comfort pick for FNG.
Yeah, it has a lot of interesting mechanics to it that the other melee roamers doesn't have, and sometimes you see it being very efficient, sometimes it seems like not that strong. However, both teams have gone through the second ban phase with Venomancer being banned. It's been one of those annoying heroes who teams pick up now, and they kind of play him a bit randomly. Some teams play him carry, sometimes some teams put him off lane and he goes Iron Talon, he just stands there, and it's like one of those heroes. It's very annoying to play against, especially when you have blink initiators. Like if you have blink initiators and there's venom wards around, you're like, I can't blink in because I get hit by random venom wards. So you want to remove that if you're looking for some kind of initiation hero that relies on blink a lot.
Team Spirit, definitely something that's on their radar. They ran it yesterday against Na'Vi, and actually interesting build from Iceberg as well. He went 4-4-0 in the mid lane against Dendi, and they were able to kill him off and actually keep Dendi down for most of the game. Na'Vi did prevail in that game too. But yeah, as you mentioned, just something that's on the radar of both these squads. Dazzle going to be picked up here by Team Spirit. Always nice against a Legion Commander. Have the Grave, you have the Weave that you can drop on at least both those heroes involved in the duel. So definitely a nice kind of pseudo counter, at least, to Legion. Also decent in lane, in general, with zoning and right clicking, at least before the Legion's able to get up to press the attack.
Yeah, one of the better heroes against Legion, generally speaking, and also one of the more stable laners. Have actually great harass. Unfortunately, against Legion, it's a bit hard because he can purge. So you kind of play him more defensively and heal your carry, and it's just very nice. Like Legion goes up and throws her AoE, overwhelming odds. You just heal the wave and it's gonna stay there. So it's pretty nice. It has a lot of multi-purposes in the lane. So that's very nice. And I wonder where Vega are gonna go, because sometimes I see Axe and Legion in the same team, just specifically to counter Dazzle. It's not insanely uncommon. I feel like Vegas team definitely that could do this. So I'm interested. I don't generally like to see it, but I'm kind of hoping for it to a certain extent.
Yeah, another thing to mention about the Dazzle always kind of just amplifies the effectiveness of the Tusk later into the game. Often we'll see the Tusk go Midas, maybe transition into a Solar Crest at some point. So can do some damage with the Dazzle by his side for sure. Also pretty good 5-man thus far with the Healing Ward and the Shadow Wave that Spirit have assembled. So yeah, we'll see if Vega go kind of more control oriented. We saw them go, or we saw Navi go a little bit global against Spirit, and Spirit seemed to be a team that often moved together. And Navi able to split them up very effectively in game 2 yesterday. So with the Legion setup, you know, there is possibility for Vega for something like a Tinker for G, perhaps an Invoker, maybe even an Ember Spirit. So for those kind of mobile pickups for G mid lane. He actually ran a Mirana earlier this morning, and that synergizes pretty well with the Legion as well.
It's very nice. Earth Spirit being picked up, I think it was mainly Earth Spirit or Slardar left for the roaming positions. You generally pick one of these common heroes, and Earth Spirit is just great. You have a silence for a Dazzle, so if you're clutch, which this Earth Spirit will be, I'm pretty sure, he can silence Dazzle. Also pretty good against Tusk. You see him rolling in, you can like pre-kick as soon as the snowball ends. Everyone's gonna get stunned. It's a lot of beautiful. I think it was Earth Spirit or Ricky, who I would have liked a lot. Just silence against heroes like this is just so valuable.
Yeah, and the Juggernaut as well, for sure. Definitely relies on that Blade Fury to, you know, keep himself vulnerable or invulnerable from the magic during fights. Be able to extract himself after a pickoff or after an Omni Slash, ensure that he isn't disabled and brought down. So definitely nice to have. Sioma played fantastically this morning on his Pudge. Afterlife very good game in game 2 as well. Looks like Spirit for the time being are at least going to deny the Axe away from Vega. I'm not sure if it fits in Vega's draft either way, but they will be able to cover their shallow grave here effectively with that Dazzle and you know, having the Earth Spirit to roll in and the Legion to blink in. That's already 2 melee heroes and going to be involved in the fight. So Axe always good in those scenarios.
Yeah, very nice pick. Dazzle Axe has a lot of potential. Also, Tusk Axe is pretty good early game. Depending on the carry, you can like do a bit cheeky plays. You roll the Axe in like level 3 maybe, and he can call and you can do stuff like that. It depends a lot on the carry of the opposing team. But and Axe also has a lot of choices. You can jungle a lot with Axe as well. Like so picking it here, you will see the carry later.
Yeah.
It doesn't. Axe can choose what to do instead of picking a hero who has to lane and then they pick a great laner with Warlock +1 and it's hard. Axe is very nice. You can dual lane Axe Tusk. You can also dual lane Dazzle Axe, and it's gonna be a Timber, which is pretty damn good against Axe.
Yeah, definitely so. Probably looking for the 1v1 matchup here for Vega against the Axe, but I was going to say the other thing about the Axe pick is just the support duo is revealed, right? So they know essentially how much disable they have for him early on, and with the nerfs to the rolling boulder slow, it feels like Axe has a pretty good time in lane. You know, Shadow Word a little bit annoying, but he should be just fine, especially if joined up by the Tusk. So yeah, Timber saw a nice pick in a vacuum against the Axe. Still feels like Spirit overall feel like they're pretty comfortable with where they are at the draft thus far.
I think both teams are pretty comfortable. Axe versus Timber is kind of an interesting matchup where if it's a true 1v1, people think that Timber wins, but usually Axe outfarms Timber until Timber hits 6, and then the lane gets very scary. And then Axe leaves because Axe has like almost Vanguard at that point and farms everything, and he can snowball from that. So it can work pretty good for the Axe, but the Timbersaw is really good actually this game. There's no like Timbersaw counters at all. There's like there's not a lot of damage from Team Spirit right now, and no control at all either, more or less. Like Axe is Qual and Tusk has some, but it's kind of mediocre. And Timbersaw really shines in a game like this, and Spirit definitely needs something to be able to deal with this Timbersaw.
Yeah, so Lina and OD taken out of the mid lane, so a lot of burst between those two heroes to kind of deal with the Timber. What do you think's left for Spirit in the mid lane? Of course, Vega still lacking their third core here as well.
Shadow Fiend gonna be picked up by Vega, so TA seems like instantly I would say TA right now. That seems like a great pick here, generally speaking. Iceberg TA sounds pretty good as well.
Yeah.
Iceberg Tiny, I can dream at least, but probably not. TA seems good. Tinker
Templar
maybe.
Assassin.
TA, yeah. That seems the most likely. I was hoping for a Tiny, even though the hero is not in meta at all.
Yeah.
So, would have been fun. Iceberg is a great Tiny player.
So should have a good matchup versus the SF mid more often than not. But, you know, the Earth Spirit will be roaming in from time to time. They have the potential for a Dazzle or Tusk TP. See how they fare, and we'll see, you know, if Spirit's able to kind of dodge the lanes that maybe predictably so Vega wants.
Yeah, gonna be interesting to see how people lane. Vega have Warlock Legion, so they could definitely do a Legion Warlock dual off lane. Have Earthspirit roaming, Timber safe lane, Shadowfiend mid. You have stable lanes. You're definitely not losing any of the lanes, and you have Earthspirit to pressure TA. So Shadowfiend will maybe even win that matchup. Timber is not gonna lose against Axe for sure, even though Axe can farm a lot. You're pretty happy with that.
Yeah.
It seems like very strong lane, but they can also do just Timber safe lane with the Warlock there. It's still not weak. It's still a very good lane, so they have a lot of options.
I think anytime you come out of the laning stage with even just with levels on your Timbersaw, you're pretty happy. Definitely a hero that can get a lot done just with his spells in towards the early mid game. Immediate smoke out. Tioma down towards the mid lane. And grand finals, guys. They're looking for a spot in the LAN May 18th in Shanghai. 18th to the 21st. Newbie, VCJ, and IG already. Newbie and VCJ direct invites, and IG in the China qualifier. So 3 great Chinese teams to meet up with the winner of this series, and it definitely feels like one that can go 5 games.
Yeah, I'm hoping for 5 games here as it was in the Chinese qualifier. I think this is definitely a series that could go to a 5th game. I think both these teams are great, especially Vega had a easier path to the grand finals with 2-0s, but I feel like Spirit they had to really struggle through them and improved a lot when that happens. When you struggle and you 2-1 and it was close games, all of them.
Yeah.
You learn a lot, and I feel like Team Spirit might actually have the edge because how much they could have improved in those series.
Yeah, I definitely agree in the sense that Vega may be the slight favorite on paper, but Spirit have looked really, really solid over the past few days. So, ward down for the Dire, so more than likely they saw Sioma place that. And they will look to contest the boundary rune silent, and Sioma will just back off and concede it. So obviously GG, Team Spirit, 3 bounty runes.
Yeah, like I talked about, Vega having like these lanes that are both versatile and also strong. So like you don't have any weaknesses. But Spirit's like, okay, well they have strong lanes, so we're just gonna go aggressive tri lane, and it doesn't matter. We change the matchups completely so that anything you do is still gonna be at best even with us. And actually Axe versus Timber, when Axe is safe lane, I actually favor Axe here. Because there's no pressure coming to him. And Iceberg gonna take a lot of damage maybe now. It's gonna be fine. But mid is a bit hard for Spirit, for Iceberg in the start. But the safe lane is gonna struggle from Vega, so that the pressure is probably gonna let up a bit later, so Iceberg can come back there.
Van score and FNG have trapped silent bottom lane with the shards. He could be in trouble. He's already used his Shadow Word offensively. 3-second cooldown on that Shadow Word. FNG, he ate that DOT earlier. Afterlife rotating in.
Yeah, I think they have to back here.
Yeah, I think silent should be okay.
If Vanguard went Poison Touch, I think they would have killed him. I'm not sure why he skilled Shadow Wave. There might have been a good reason for it. Also, if you're laying against Legion, he's like, I would remove it either way, so there's no point skilling it. But in this situation, I feel like if he went that, he would probably have silent right here. Yeah,
And
he just gotta back off.
Backing BZZ. Meanwhile, farming under the wave, and as you mentioned, Sioma paying some attention to the mid lane. Try and make this life a little bit more difficult for Iceberg. They certainly are accomplishing that thus far. Although Afterlife having a little bit of trouble farming. Shroud's just gonna whiff. Barely bottom lane, and FNG now out of mana needs to back off and get his clarity up and running.
Yeah, and mid lane Iceberg lost hitting very well, even though it's dual lane, so he's gonna have a pretty good mid lane probably, even though there's a lot of pressure on him. And safe lane, DK forwards versus Aloha Dance. Aloha Dance is the carry player and doesn't play 1 versus 1, generally speaking. So I might feel like DK forwards might be a bit more experienced in this, and therefore favor it a little bit as well.
Bottom lane, It's a little bit of jockeying for position, a little harass both ways. Yeah, Aloha Dance is getting low, just the 1 level currently in reactive armor. And DK Phobos unable to draw aggro and net a spin there to bring him low, but he's going to force Aloha Dance to Shrine. And yeah, as you mentioned, just a little bit more comfortable, you know, either being, first of all, alone or down in numbers, but in the 1v1 matchups. So DK Phobos takes a slight edge in the way of CS, rolling up towards the top lane. Yoma just going to steal the bounty rune away from the dire side.
He actually forced Aloha Dance to use the Shrine already, which is a pretty impressive feat right here. And it doesn't matter much for Aloha Dance, like he has that advantage, but already this early forcing him to use that advantage is very good by DK Phobos.
Yeah, chasing him down a little bit.
Gotta be careful there though. Earth Spirit is actually raw. This could be good sal though.
Yeah, in between, but 3 stacks of the Whirling Death now. 1 just expires. 2 on him, DK Phobos. Still trying to get the spins off onto Sioma, but that 3rd Whirling Death now will end up finishing him off, and that's first blood going the way. But meanwhile, bottom lane, Silent in a little bit of trouble. FNG chasing him down, gets the shards off with the Shadow Wave. They should be just fine. Snowball will keep Afterlife at 8, but he gets the extra move speed from the overwhelming odds. Fatal Bonds up and ticking as well, but no longer connected to anything, so BZZ will be able to back off. However, Afterlife gets the return kill onto FNG, and of course that's going to be a lot more experience than went the way of that triumvirate of heroes that had to split 180 on their kill on Silence Warlock.
Yeah, it was very good for Vega. If the first blood hadn't happened top, it would have been slightly favorable for Spirit on the bottom lane, but since the first blood was spent seconds before, the trade becomes favorable for Vega. So I think the offlane of Team Spirit, they might dissolve this soon. They could stay here for a few minutes more, but it's already starting to become kind of bad. You don't want to stay here when Legion is high level as either, because he is a stronger laner than
FNG looking for G mid lane. He snowballs in. He has the shards as well. Fairy Fire is there though. Now the roll connects and the tower beating away on FNG. He may just feed himself over. And Iceberg just unable to get there in time. FNG going for the YOLO play. He knew that G would want to get to the shrine as Iceberg kept him real low in lane, but fortunately for Vega, Sioma was there.
Yeah, very good place by Vega and Sioma really being on point. I'm not sure if he scouted that or if it could be like G is like, I'm scared, can you help me? And then he's like, okay, I'm coming to help you out so you can get to the shrine, because he wanted to get to the shrine, but they was missing bottom, and so it's probably very good coordination. They're talking and they know that this could happen, and not only do he gets the shrine, but they get a kill as well. So that's a very good place and very synergized in a way.
Still doing well across the board is Spirit, at least in CS regard, but as you mentioned, you know, being in the aggressive tri-lane, just the nature of that lane, BZZ going to be a little bit lacking in the way of levels. Afterlife picking up that solo kill is going to be level 4 relatively soon. So Skirmishes have definitely favored Vega thus far. Iceberg holding his own in mid lane, and DK Phobos, despite the death, still farming well. But Vega made some good moves in this early game thus far.
Yeah, 3-1 to Vega, but it's more or less even. You see the 3 cores are like a little bit ahead, but this could turn in one kill, and it could be Team Spirit having the 3 top cores. So yeah, it's not a. It's still very early, 4 minutes in. There's a second pause now, so it's being a bit slow. So it feels like it might be a bit later, but it's only 4 minutes and 2 seconds in. So, but FNG kind of had bad rotations, or unfortunate rotations, I'll call them. I feel like they were good rotations, but he was a bit unlucky and died. And cooldown on Teeper right now, so he can't pressure anything, which is unfortunate. He's spawning in 2 seconds, but he had to run all the way out, so that he can't pressure in lane, and that means Vega can more or less man up on every lane right now, because they know Tusk is going to be missing for quite some time.
G will heal up with the shrine, and he'll be accompanied by his Earth Spirit going in towards that mid lane. Iceberg still has a refraction, so difficult to kill off at this point, but will secure G a double damage rune, and I believe his bottle's flying out. It is, so that's a really nice help to his lane.
Very good. This is going to be very hard for Iceberg now. He probably should move into jungle right now, honestly. Getting level 5, he sees this as a DD, and he could die if there's any sort of rotation, so probably kind of want to head into jungle right now.
Yoma spotted top lane briefly, gets down a decent ward as well for some vision when the axe potentially retreats down to the jungle. BZZ getting a little bit low bottom lane. Doesn't actually have a level just yet in the healing ward. Soon to be level 4. Does have a mango as well, so can pretty reliably pop that. Or give it to Vanscore to help him heal him up. Either way. Aggression going to be stymied in the bottom lane for the time being as rotations from FNG towards the mid lane, although he's already fairly low and G's got the double damage running, so very difficult kill to say the least.
Yeah, they're staying here on the bottom lane, which I'm kind of questioning. This lane is actually surprisingly scary with fatal bonds and overwhelming odds. There's a lot of damage that comes out very fast. You might not really be expecting it. But assuming they're gonna swap this out within 2 minutes at least, I really don't think you want to stand on this bottom lane for much longer. The supports are already left, and BCC needs to get to top lane, I think.
Yeah, DK Phobos nearing his level 6 mark as well, so he can start to try and make things happen, or is always capable of retreating to the jungle, more so than BZZ perhaps. So definitely agree with you on that front. But down to the bottom lane goes Vanscore. FNG coming up towards the top lane. Aloha Dance, more than enough mana it feels. And DK Phobos not in really healthy fighting shape at this point.
No, this is not. You can't. Now that Timber is 6, there's more or less no chance to kill him. I think the only way is the spin is the only damage that really gets to him. So Juggernaut has to rotate, but level 2 spin is not that much. He kind of needs to refree at least. And even then, you need like 4 people for it. It's a big rotation for a chance to. Because Timber is a hero that could, like, if you go 3 people on him, he can kill all 3 that goes on him. So you have to be careful about rotating on a hero like this.
Yeah, certainly very unforgiving attempts on his life. But roll in top lane. DK Phobos in trouble, brought down. Chain, Chakram, Whirling Death. Full combo through. And they'll get a little chip damage on the tier 1 as a reward. So nice kill onto DK Phobos. He's going to be, the highest, other than the mid lane level hero on Spirit's side. So nice rotation in from Sioma, going to net Aloha Dance. Snowballed in. Crit, and he'll try and get the Shadow Word off to delay. But BZZ will find him with another swipe of the sword. Gets off the Fatal Bonds, but no response in sight. Still across the map, the DK Phobos kill. Certainly worth a little bit more for the Radiant squad. Radiant do have a ward down in the mid lane. Not sure if they spouted this. Gee, could be in trouble. Nighttime. They will get the shards off. And the Snowball Blade Fury is there and bring him down in time. Now Silent inbound, so is Sioma. Gets the Boulder Smash off. Does connect on BZZ.
Yeah, no rotations though.
But yeah, difficult kill. And all the meanwhile, Iceberg farming up in his mid lane, so he's been happy with the last little bit. So a couple of kills go the way of Team Spirit, and they'll bring it back 4-3 here for sub 8 minutes.
And the DK Phobo with the classic Ring of Protection, and then realizing that those no longer building the Tranquils.
Feels bad.
Me and him pointed out, but Alodan's pushing a lot actually. This tower is almost dead already. Oh yeah, I thought he was gonna get the taunt. But DK Phobos is jungling now, and meanwhile Alodans just pushes the tower, and Alodans is farming more efficiently as well. So pretty unfortunate, like I talked about earlier. Axe actually has a pretty good.
Oh, Afterlife?
Oh,
gets the duel off before the shrine, but does he have enough? Now Vanscore TPing in with a grave available. He'll drop down the healing ward and save the shrine for now. Still has a mango as well on the Juggernaut, so alright, it was a nice play. He actually saw him in the river via this ward, walked by mid, and so he figured he was going to shrine, set him up there. Unfortunately, first duel, although a good idea for Afterlife, does not net him a kill nor duel damage.
Yeah, very patient play from Afterlife, but not the soul in anything.
Mid lane.
I've seen.
He was in a bit of trouble, but ends up backing up. Has Sioma behind him as well in the dire ward. Likely scouted that out briefly, so Iceberg backs off.
Yeah, I've been seeing some interesting builds with Legion where people go for like 1 point and overwhelming odds, and then max 1 with courage and press the attack. For heroes like Juggernaut, because if you have 1-4-4 build, your physical damage is beyond insane. Like you will kill a 1k HP Juggernaut in a duel for sure. So it's. If he had gone that build, it probably worked out there, but it wouldn't have
plays
been
from
that's good in lane.
From Sioma. He scans, sees that Iceberg is farming the Ancients. He's going to soak some XP from the low ground. Should give him pretty much his level 5. Not sure if Iceberg has noticed at all. It seemed like there was a ping coming out from Vanscore. And actually the side blades. connecting on Sioma, but he gets his level 5 out of it.
Oh. Yeah, that was efficient. That's very nice. It looked a bit funny when he started getting splashed. I was worried if FNG had been a bit closer, it could have been a kill, but retreated in the right time.
And score soaking up a bit in mid lane. BZZ back down to bottom. And so is the, least farm core aside from DK Phobos, who's had a couple of deaths thus far. But certainly can look to recover. Aloha Dance just parking his rear top lane constantly and pressuring into this tower and stacking up the reactive armor now. He's very difficult to go on, so more than likely should be able to secure this tower. Deny? Not attempted by DK Phobos. So perhaps he might have just been looking at FNG. But he ends up missing the call, and now chain through. Oh, nice snowball save from FNG, able to dodge the Whirling Death, or the Chakram pull, but Whirling Death comes through, kills him off. Sioma joins the fray. They get 2. Killing spree for Aloha Dance, and Sioma going to pick up his first killing blow of the game as well. And they get the tier 1 tower and a couple of kills top lane.
Yeah, I have no clue what Team Spirit was thinking, especially DK Phobos. I think he was like, I can TP out, and then he saw Sioma, and he was like, oh, I can't, I'm dead. And then they're like trying to save each other, and then they don't even deny the tower, and they both just die, and it became horrible. So that was not that good for Team Spirit, and a lot of that is snowballing now. He picked up a buckler actually. Is this a mech timber? It's a personal favorite of mine, but probably just casual for now.
Yeah, he's got. Yeah, they will go in on the duel, and they end up getting BZZ. Do not get the dual damage, but either way, you mentioned kind of whether or not the Jugger, it's arguable whether the Jugger should have his present spot lane. And does end up getting punished for it, and is quite a bit behind at this point. Afterlife, 1700 gold after that, and well on his way to his Blink Dagger. Now pressuring in this tier 1 bottom lane. This last hit would be very valuable for him to get at this point in the game. Aloha Dance gonna body up the wave and ensure they facilitate this. Meanwhile, Silent gets initiated on. And DK Phobos and FNG, you mentioned that combination is going to be able to net themselves a kill. Doesn't want to expend the Chaotic Offering without his comrades nearby, but they will take the tier 1 in the meantime. See if they get the last hit on to Afterlife. They don't. They give it to Aloha Dance. He's on his way to his Bloodstone. And as you mentioned, picked up the Buckler just moments ago. Sioma going to run into FNG on the west side. And
FNG going for something. Nice. Easy rollout. I think he was looking kinda to make some ice shard snowball play, but it's so hard on Earth Spirit, it just rolls out. They think he warded. Oh, will they find this? This is a fun ward. I've seen this before. This is very hard. I think Team Spirit has seen this before though, so they might actually know.
FNG will walk by it for now, but either way, there is a sentry in range if they catch a glimpse. Aloha Dance.
Unique ward. Very good one.
There's quite a bit of vision. The tree, although this one could be cut down, help them out, but DK Phobos, he's going to be able to pick up the Vanguard here, quite a bit behind where he'd want to be in a 1v1. And meanwhile, Shards in mid lane. They are able to sign it up, but the Chaotic Offering comes out. Afterlife going to blink and get the duel off onto FNG. Shallow Grave will at least delay what seems like the inevitable at FNG. He's walking away to the north, and now DK Phobos, he's reinitiated, gets the Culling Blade off. Shadow Wave keeps him alive as the raises got him low. G, though, under the cover of Shadow Blade, looking for the Requiem, and he gets it off. Iceberg takes a lot of damage. BZZ was under the cover of Blade Fury, but he's all in no man's land now, and is going to be overwhelming odds up. Chakram thrown out, makes him juke over to the left, does have the phase boots and the healing ward, but now G wrapping around from the east should be able to bring that down easily. Afterlife blinks forward, he will spin again, but it'll just be a wild goose chase until he's brought down, and G will be the lucky one to pick that up. Overall in the mid lane, they grab a wealth of kills. I think it's like FNG made it away from the beginning, but they do get, I believe, Dazzle TA and the Juggernaut on the back end.
That Shadow Wave was delivered mid-fight. That was. I don't think they would have killed. Jagger would have at least survived, I think, if there wasn't for that Shadow Blade. So a bit fortunate, but so both teams had quite team fight potential there. We saw the Grave countering the Legion, and almost turned into a lot of people in Vega dying. And the Shadow Blade really helped a lot there, and also Afterlife getting a very early blink. I think he just picked up that before as well. So 2 items. more or less right before in the mid fight.
Yeah.
Doing a lot of work, which might give them this mid tower.
Yeah. Silent level 7 as well. Great strength growth on the hero. So he's, you know, just a little bit more tanky than perhaps they anticipated. Sitting on 1,000 health and the wand there and able to get that chaotic offering off, set up the duel. And now they'll translate this into a tier 1 push. Iceberg over on the east side was scouted briefly by the Radiant. And Afterlife setting up to blink maybe? They don't have a scan from the Radiant side, so spotting up mid lane with Aloha Dance. They'll continue to right click into this tower, try to elicit a response out of Team Spirit. No rock for another 35 seconds.
Yeah, especially no rock and they're pushing this heavy. Really, pretty sure it's Aloha Dance feeling killable, and that's why they're feeling they can do this. But probably gotta be a bit scared at least, I feel like. But the golem is, they're probably gonna have the golem by the time Team Spirit is even set up the fight.
15 seconds until it's up, and Aloha Dance, he's just stacking up his reactive armor, tanking the tower, has the Bloodstone and the Buckler.
This Buckler is actually so valuable. There's more or less only physical damage on Spirit, except the counter helix pure damage, but he's not really here that will be in a position where he will take damage from that.
Yeah.
So this Buckler is meta-getting a ton of damage and is probably helping him, especially against Dazzle as well. As the ultimate removes armor, he's just counterplays that completely, and a really good pickup. I think this is probably the best pickup he could have had. I never thought about a casual Buckler like this, but I'm really impressed actually.
Aloha, knowing that safe laners have some idea how to play offlane heroes, right? But either way, I mean, Iceberg, he's got his Desolator, so he's got his bare necessities here. You know, the Axe still only sitting on Vanguard, 1,000 gold away, and BZZ just picking up the Yasha now, so we're quite a bit behind. Overall, meanwhile, DK Phobos in trouble bottom lane. FNG nearby, though. They should know that they have the presence of the Dark Lord on them.
Oh, they smoked DK Phobos, and he knows that there was an English guy.
And unable to recognize the debuff there, so they ended up backing out. But wasted smoke, I suppose. Not the biggest deal either way. DK Phobos at least survives for now. Aloha Dance in the mid lane. You know, there's a potential for him to be alone once he shows under this wave. Let's see if they actually end up getting aggressive on him, and they will. They get the snowball off. Meld Strike is there. Aloha Dance, though, so tanky. DK Phobos gets the taunt off, but it's only on one hero. Omni slashes through. They still can't kill him. And he'll get a Whirling Death off onto 2. Chaotic Offering is there. They get the dual win for Afterlife. And BZZ, he's off by his lonesome. Chakram is available. Does get the slow momentarily. Needs a tree to chain to here. And Vanscore will be able to make it in. Aloha Dance will just walk up the high ground and start pitter-pattering away at this tier 3.
This is some always frog stuff going on now. It's very rare you see a Timber being this far ahead. I don't think we recognize this, how tanky he is, and then you almost lose the game because you are It's insane actually.
Yeah, he will get Walrus Punch up in the air, but still 20 stacks of reactive armor. This Timber is not afraid of anyone or anything. They press the attack on the Golem as well, pretty much with ease, bring down the tier 3. They can at least go for Shrines now. Yeah, they canceled the Timber Chain, but still no confidence.
I thought they would kill him because that was a sick play basically, but didn't really matter. But still, I mean, this game just suddenly
blown wide open.
So far ahead,
And you can't really blame them for going on Aloha Dance mid lane. They had a good idea that multiple heroes were bought as Aloha Dance shreds FNG. But they will be able to take out the North Shrine or the West Side Shrine, at least away from the dire side. Team Spirit up on the high ground, trying to use the advantage, hoping that perhaps Vega will walk headlong in towards their other shrine, but not going to be the case for the time being. Aloha Dance has a set of travels now as well, so can constantly keep these waves shoved in. Really, we've seen, even by himself, a very tall order to fulfill for Spirit to try and actually kill him off. So he'll be able to be kind of omnipresent across the map. Sioma, in the meantime, picks up a Blink Dagger, and Vega and crew posturing up top lane to try and take out the second to last outer tier tower here for Spirit.
This Timber is uncounterable right now. They don't have anything. They have only physical damage, and they don't have enough to kill him. He got a plate mill now. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure if they want 5 people on him, he would probably kill 2 and get out. And if not even worse for his spirit. So I'm interested to see how Vega capitalized on this. They know how strong Timber is. A lot of them knows that he is almost unkillable, and they are gonna play around him.
Yep, great recognition in the draft screen as well. That Timber picked late, and the TA was pretty much the only option left. I mean, you mentioned the Tinker. There was potential for them to go Tinker and actually have some burst, but OD and Lena removed them from the pool away from Iceberg, so they opt for the TA. And yeah, Aloha Dance is having a whale of a game thus far after coming away from his solo matchup top lane. G picks up a haste rune and bottle it up. They'll take a peek at Roche, but at least look to perhaps rejuvenate before potentially throwing an advantage away against, you know, Axe Tusk in the pit.
Yeah, they probably don't want to play around the weaknesses of Aloha Dance, which is it's not really good around Roche pit. It depends a lot. He can be great there, but taking Roche is not good at. So they probably don't want to play around that too much. Contesting Roche they're great at though, but they probably want it to be a bit safer. Aloha Dance pushed out mid here. They can Roche behind him or they can push behind him. Just play a lot around Aloha Dance is probably their only real plan right now.
Team Spirit trying to look for someone pushing in top lane, but no one home at the time. And now Sigil will scout out the Roche, but it also slows Roche's attack speed, so kind of helping out Vega. Not right. Aloha Dance.
I wonder if they're gonna go for a steal.
They do pop the lead.
They have to go.
Now Omni Slash going to be dropped down onto Silent early, and now BZZ, he's a little bit out of position. They have the Chaotic Offering if they want to drop it. They get the duel off. They don't even need this just yet. Snowball will be used defensively, and the Requiem on top of the Chaotic Offering. 3 heroes down. No one, I mean, everyone left unscathed for Vega's side, and they'll take the Roche as icing on the cake. As we mentioned moments ago, this game blown wide open from what was relatively even for the first 15 minutes or so. It's now in excess of a 10k net worth lead for Vega's side and approaching the 10k mark in the way of experience.
Yeah, it all comes down to this top lane where Axe died at one time, and it gives Aloha Dance everything he needs. He actually struggled a lot in that lane, the first 3 levels. But then DK Phobos goes to 15. Oh, he's gonna initiate it. That's dead. I had the Aegis though.
Yeah, nice setup, but still, as you mentioned, Aegis. Punch up in the air onto Afterlife. He'll then go in onto FNG. Aloha Dance will help him finish off that pesky Tusk. Vanscore will have to self-grave. Iceberg trying to make it off to the east, and looks like he will be able to do so. Jumps back towards the shrine. Needs to be careful, though, not to overcommit here. They will start to right-click into the buildings with G. BZZ jumping forward. Shivas is there for Aloha Dance. 22 minutes in on top of his Bloodstone. And yeah, they're going to need a miraculous call. Shivas is down. They need to wait for their wave to come through as well, and that's actually quite a ways away. So perhaps settling for the shrine. Now as Silent, Afterlife, Sioma will rotate down towards the south, and G will walk by a ward, but should be just fine as well. They do end up getting the Aegis, so not terrible for Team Spirit. No real significant damage done. It's all to the melee racks, most of which should regen by the next time they're looking to reach high ground.
I think G really wanted a butterfly before he went, but probably realized now that he should have waited for it. This could be a game-turning smoke though. They need G though. There's no other target than G that is valuable.
And he walks up to the high ground just in the nick of time. Picks up his Talisman of Invasion. He's going for the TP as well. And perhaps just a bit of fortune as they see Iceberg show mid. Maybe they set up to, are looking to set up on the TA, and that actually effectively saves the life of G top.
Yeah, but the Golem is down and there's no Aegis. This is a great fight if Team Spirit can take it. But like I talked about, they're just gonna put Aloha Dance up here. What can you do? You can't go on Aloha Dance. He's gonna kill all of them.
Oh, they're trying to flank the back line. DK Phobos.
Oh, he
doesn't have his blink cancel, but he does find a call onto 2 somehow. Snowball will come through as well. Aloha Dance now trying to rejoin the fray. The overwhelming odds doing a lot of work. DK Phobos gets finished off in the duel. G still alive somehow. Is right-clicking into BZZ. He's forced away. Chakram does not connect onto Iceberg just yet, but they have a good idea of where he's at. Whirling Death and the chain through from Aloha Dance. Big Afterlife DCing there. Somehow G surviving far too long in that engagement. BZZ forced out now. Still relatively even overall. But with the Iceberg kill, perhaps slightly tilted in Vega's favor.
Yeah, if Iceberg gets out here, it's even, but I don't see him getting out. Probably not happening. There's no detection, but Timbersaw kind of doesn't really care. He would probably kill Iceberg here. I was actually, you see the itemization here from G. He has a casual talisman of evasion, and he's actually, I think he dodged 2 TA attacks, especially the last one, because I saw Iceberg hit G, and he was like, okay, G is dead, and then he started running, and then he dodged the attack, so he had to run back and attack him one more to finish him off, and that's what's gonna cost him his life here probably.
Yeah, Aloha Dance sitting on 22 Bloodstone charges, so he can in 3 seconds just drop the chakram down and leave it there essentially until Iceberg is dead. So very unlikely he makes it out, it feels. Big overwhelming odds in that fight as well from Afterlife. Been quite a bit of work against Spirit, but still didn't seem like the ideal fight for Vega. And the fact that they're, you know, Aloha Dance was 3,000 units or so away when they got the initiation. They scouted DK Phobos. He still got a good call off. They followed it up with FNG, so it felt like a lot of things went right for Spirit there. But
yeah, that was a great fight by Spirit, especially DK Phobos really clutching on the call, and it ending even really shows how hard this game is for Team Spirit. And still interesting. I think I wonder if Chakram not gonna do enough damage to go through refraction so he can blink out, but I think it will. But he could probably, he might be able to blink out actually.
Yeah, still has 3 refraction charges and 3 seconds on the blink, 3 seconds on Chakram. Chakram's still on cooldown, so
yeah,
does have a chance. For sure.
Yeah, he has to blink in a good. If he had a TP, I'm pretty sure he would have made it out. But since he doesn't, it's a bit. He has to blink to a very good spot.
Perhaps blink uphill.
Yeah, I think so.
But he doesn't have a TP yet, so it's still going to be very hard for him to escape. Dire do have a ward though over by the shrine, so if he makes his way westward, he has some sort of information. And maybe can look for the secondary blink out. Still 10 seconds on his Hurricane Pike. But either way, hopefully we can get Afterlife to reconnect here.
It's third DC, right? From all from Vega, right?
I think they've all been from Vega, I guess.
Yeah, so I'm a bit worrisome about that. Looking later into this best of 5, which is gonna be for quite some time. So, but BCC is getting a Shadow Blade actually, so he's switching up his build. Or he panicked bot. He thought it was dying maybe, and like just spammed click, and he had both queued up, and that's why this happened.
They need some answer for Aloha Dance, so he's looking at Silver Edge right now.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. If he had Manta that fight, I actually think Vega would have gotten wiped, because he was silenced from Sioma for full duration, and he couldn't Omni follow up the call with an Omni, so he had to wait for 3 seconds, which basically meant that Vega could win the fight. So a bit unfortunate there. If he had that item, I think that would have been a wipe actually. So, but not quite there yet.
Yeah, right idea, as you mentioned from Spirit. There was no chaotic offering. The Aegis was expended in the previous fight, so if there was any opening, that was it. Is he not in the ideal spot this game? Currently sitting on level 14 alongside DK Phobos. We got G at 17, Aloha Dance at 21. Iceberg keeping up pace at level 20, but BZZ quite a ways behind.
Yeah, Iceberg doing very good actually. If he managed to get out of this, he can definitely carry this game. When he gets this Bloodthorn. Bloodthorn is an item that kind of hard counters Timber. However, by that point he will probably have like Lotus or Yules that is going, so yeah, he kind of needs lockdown on Aloha Dance. But when he gets that item, there's a lot of potential to kill Aloha Dance finally. So that's a good timing that could turn this game for sure.
Yeah, he definitely will have to survive here. 7,000 gold item doesn't quickly. You're dying, so.
Finally back. Welcome back, Afterlife.
Alright. Still no Blade Mail as well for DK Phobos. That could have certainly helped out in that fight. Overall adding odds is going to be dropped down. He goes for the kill on Afterlife. He'll find it. He'll pay with his life. But it's a triple kill for Iceberg. He wasn't able to buy out, but ends up with more net gold than he had, you know, had he tried to escape and died. So definitely, as you mentioned, doing well on the TA. Pretty much the only silver lining for Spirit side, but is on the sidelines for the next 60 seconds.
It's pretty nice for Spirit though that the timing is kind of off for Vega, so there's no golem together with Aegis because how they took these two previously fights, which is very nice. So there's no Vega can't amass these big times for quite some time. So that's gonna buy a lot of space for Spirit, or Vega is gonna force an earlier fight than they kind of want to.
Right.
So that's very nice. So Vega Spirit buys themselves a lot of space by playing the way they've played these last few minutes.
Yeah, Aloha Dance has the Yules up already, so not all that worried about the silence and farming like a madman, looking to pick up his level 25 relatively shortly. BZZ under the cover of Shadowblade doing a little scouting for his squad and does find Silent in the trees. This is a great target for them to find. Afterlife also so blinks to the north. DK Footballs will jump forward and call him up and call him up. And now FNG finds G, dusts him up as well. G trying to bring him down. One right click raise. FNG ends up dying. Now G able to Yule, Aloha Dance able to Yules up DK Footballs. They get the duel off. Requiem is their grave for now. Will keep BZZ alive, but they still got the Shiva slow on him. Meanwhile, they will be able to bring down the Dazzle. And with the Shadowblade down to the south, looks like BZZ actually is going to be able to survive. Either way, they find the initiation on Warlock. Oh, they'll get DK Phobos in the north. Apologies for the T-Tours, but they find the Warlock. I don't know how much better that can possibly go. Perhaps they're able to kill him without the call and then use that on G, but they find the Warlock, they get a beat on G, and they still end up losing the fight. Aloha Dance coming through with that Yules onto the axe. Keeps G alive. G pretty much solo kills off FNG as well. And now speaking of FNG, he's going to be forced to snowball out here. Aloha Dance going to try and chase him down with the Shivas. Gets Walrus Punch in the air. Shrine is going to be activated. 18 seconds still till DK Phobos is back in the fray. In the meantime, G beating on the buildings. Iceberg, though, does blow up the Earth Spirit, but no grave from the Dazzle. He ends up dropping. He's forced to buy back. Shards will push Afterlife down to the south. G is able to Shadow Blade away. Snowball just in range, but the Chaotic Offering and one right click from G will kill off the FNG Tusk. He does have buyback, will expend it here. Aloha Dance has to self-grave a little bit early here. Iceberg maybe now vulnerable, loses his refraction. They get the Shivas off. DK Phobos too far deep behind enemy lines is going to end up going down. And Aloha Dance, speaking of behind enemy lines, is entirely through the lineup of Team Spirit. They will get DK Phobos, FNG down for the second time in a minute, and he has no buyback. Aloha Dance pressing forward. No spin left on BZZ. He will Yules him up in the air. Meanwhile, G beats on the melee racks. And Glyph going to be popped here. Iceberg jumping forward with the Meld Strike. BZZ can't really get on top of him. They do end up getting the kill. But Iceberg now could be in trouble. Two-man overwhelming odds coming through from Afterlife. He's going to work on the objectives alongside Aloha Dance. DK Phobos up in 8 seconds. No G available, no Rock. Sioma, though, back in the fray. Hits the Boulder Smash, and they will be able to kill off the Dazzle, who buys back immediately. Iceberg, magnetize up on him. FNG looking for a kill on Sioma. And he does get stunned up and shredded by the Timbersaw. Now Iceberg, he's going to get slowed up. DK Phobos gets the Battle Hunger off onto Aloha Dance. Vanscourt forced again to self-grave. Yule Scepter is going to be there from Aloha Dance. Whirling Death in just a second. Not able to kill off the Dazzle just yet. We'll be able to chain away through the call, and Aloha Dance still very tanky at this point. 20 stacks of reactive armor, and even with all the damage Iceberg's doing, he will just walk away from this.
What a hero. Is he gonna survive?
From the south, they have the Warlock nearby. They do not have the Chaotic Offering, but he will drop the Fatal Bonds. Aloha Dance still alive. Silent, can't really say the same for him. But it looks like he's bought enough space for Aloha Dance to make it away, who is, of course, the much more valuable target.
And that's for, I mean, Warlock dying in one attack. Meanwhile, Timber tanked about 200. So, that was really good by Vega. If only Vanscore could see 1 second into the future, I think Spirit could have won that fight. Because he had to grave when people were at about 80% HP, because they died in 0.2 seconds.
Yeah.
It was very hard for Vanscore there, but a lot of bad backs forced from Team Spirit.
Yeah, unfortunately, DK Fobo still not with the Blade Mail. Has been hitting some good calls, but they just don't really have the follow-up. It requires Iceberg, you know, who's the vast majority of their damage, to jump himself into the front lines. And even if he's able to, you know, burst a hero like Earth Spirit, there is a response from G and Aloha. Speaking of Aloha, he's going to Shiva's up. Iceberg looks to chase forward, doesn't chain up to the high ground.
That's a DD.
Yeah,
but they really is confident.
They have Ags as well, but they'll go with the Blade Mail and turn the DD against him. Grip up onto Vanscore now as well. Akiva was there, and they will find him.
Hey, GG, yeah.
Vega, 30 minutes in, 33 kills. Aloha Dance getting a little more than they would have hoped in that top lane and taking this game over. Vega going to take a 1-0 victory over Spirit, who looked really good, but Vega, they'll carry over their momentum from their earlier series today and take a lead.
Yeah, very good draft from, especially the Timber pick kind of stopped Spirit. They kind of were climbing uphill this entire game, and they did a few very good things even, I'd say, and they were looking close to turning this game at certain points. Maybe if the Blade Mail from Axe came up before they pushed high ground, or they did a clutch grave or stuff like that, but not quite there. And but I think game 2 could definitely be a bit more even.
Yeah, really nice 5th pick Shadow Fiend as well for G. That really denied kind of the only mid laner left with any considerable burst to deal with Aloha. So as you mentioned, picks up that casual buckler early on, and just they had no answer for him. So very well drafted. Well played as well from Vega. They take a 1-0 lead, guys. Kefka MRP here. Grand Final Star Ladder Invitational Series 2. Looking for a spot in the land to join Newbie, Vici, and IG. Vega up 1-0 versus Spirit.